Warren Buffett just dropped a stark warning that should have every investor paying attention. With massive fiscal risks and government spending, he's deeply worried the US dollar could really, quote, go to hell, reminding us that blindly trusting any currency in today's environment is dangerous. So in a world of record debt, shifting trends, and policy experiments, who's been calling these moves before they hit the headlines? That's exactly why we're thrilled to have with us today the man known as the world's #1 trend forecaster. You know who it is. Gerald Celente, founder, director of the Trends Research Institute and publisher of the Trends Journal for more than 45 years, Gerald? Wow.
46.
He has been 46. He's been ahead of the curve, forecasting everything from the Soviet collapse, the dot-com bust, to housing crashes, the fallout from monetary overreach. The list goes on and on and on, and he has no political spin, so I can't wait to speak to you right now, Gerald. So good to see you again.
No, I love being on with you. Thank you so much for having me. I so much appreciate all that you do and the people you have on.
Well, listen, I listen to my people, the people that watch the show. We want more Gerald. We want more Gerald. I'm like, all right, I'll give you guys. We should just start a daily show at this point, Gerald. Listen, I watched the latest interview on CNBC with Warren Buffett. I think he does it yearly. And I thought this time it was pretty raw, and I enjoyed it, saying that it's dangerous, quote, when people lose faith in currency, recalling the pre-Volcker era when cash is trash. People borrowed at high rates, expecting the dollar to disappear, and it led to tragedies like farm collapses. And he now warns that the US isn't immune to this now, and that runaway inflation can turn the country into something else. Do you agree with the assessment of the risk that Warren Buffett's is warning about right now?
1,000%. And by the way, his son, Peter Buffett, used to rent one of my buildings, the 1763 Dr. Jensen House, for his Novo Foundation. So going back to Buffett, it's the death of the dollar. America's become the country our founding fathers fought against. Look at the debt level that we have. Where they're saying now it's, you know, to the debt to GDP level is like 100, over 100. And you go back a decade ago, it was half of that. And so when I say what our founding fathers fought against, once upon a time, there was this place called Great Britain, where the sun never sets on the British Empire, where they're slaughtering people all over the world, right? War after war after war after war after war. So what happened after World War I? The pound went down and the dollar went up because of all the wars that they fought. America is now in that same position. One of my sayings is that the 20th century was the American century, but the 21st century is going to be the Chinese century, because the business of America, by the facts, is war. The business of China is business. The death of the dollar is coming, and now the Iran war has made a very bad situation much worse, because a lot of the countries now that are really getting hit very hard because of this war can't stand the United States for starting it, along with Israel. But Israel really doesn't count. The United States does, because it's the dollar. The petrodollar, as the prices are skyrocketing. I mean, let's go back to February 24th. President Trump's State of the Union address.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, because of me, price of gasoline, a gallon of gasoline in most states, $2.30. What's it today? About $2.40. As we're going on the air, what's a barrel of Brent crude? As we're going on the air, $114 a barrel. Hey, let's go to the beginning of the year. What was the average price? Oh, about $60 a barrel. Going back to the death of the dollar. This is wiping out countries all over the world. Inflation's skyrocketing. And not only because of the Strait of Hormuz with oil, but other products and, commodities that go through it. So there's going to be a very, very anti-American movement from the countries that go down. Once upon a time, there was this guy by the name of Bill Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And when he ran for office, by the way, this is a T-shirt, just to show you the way I feel about all the politicians. This is a T-shirt I did when he ran for office back in 1992. All right? So Bill Clinton, when he was running for office, he had his line, "It's the economy, stupid." That was the behind-the-scenes line. Only talk about the economy. Now, again, going global and why they're not going to like America, it's the economy, stupid. And this war is hurt the whole world. Economically, look at the geopolitically. So this is very serious. So that's going to be another thing that brings down the death of the dollar. They've had it with America. Again, look at tourism. Oh, in the Middle East, tourism, the last numbers I saw, and I'm going back to March, it was down $600 million a day. Look at the flights being canceled. So this is more than just one level.
Yes.
So this is very important. They're all saying, a lot of them are saying, is going to be stagflation, stagnant economy, and rising inflation. No, it's not. It's going to be dragflation, declining economic growth, and rising inflation.
I want you to think about this for a second. Our clients have lived through things like the gold standard, Black Monday, the dot-com bubble, and of course, the corruption leading up to 2008. They've seen these patterns on a smaller scale before. The rampant inflation and money printing since 2008 has made this far worse now. We're not talking about another recession. We're talking about the end of a monetary era. There's no reason to fear the future when you have a proper plan in place. I sleep well at night, and I want that for you too. So click below to take our 3-minute quiz on DannyReport.com. It's free, and it will guide you on the next steps to take. It just makes you wonder, and I don't want to create theories, but I did think about this, how we saw the boom in the Middle East, right? With the World Cup was there, and it was going to be the future, and the incredible critical minerals conference taking place in Riyadh. I mean, it was all moving to the Middle East. And now it obviously stopped. I'm not saying this was done on purpose, but it does make you think, Gerald. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah. But again, we're going back to the Middle East. They were having a rough time already. Let's go back to oil prices. One of the reasons why Brent crude was so low back then, there was more supply than demand, and OPEC Plus was pushing out more than they should have been pushing out because they needed the dough. And now Saudi Arabia is really being hit hard. And then with this war going on, Iran bombing all these places where there are American bases, this thing's going down really bad. And again, it's all across Europe. Look at the price of petrol. It's wiping it. And now the...
And here. And here, back home, Gerald. I mean, I got the fuel light on again in the car this morning, and it was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Right?
And again,
okay.
This is hurting the average person. And again, and that's very important. The equity markets, when people look at them, I was just doing some, numbers out here. I just Googled it up. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, the big three, collectively hold approximately 22 to 28% of the total market capitalization of the S&P 500, representing over $30 trillion in managed assets across the funds, all right? Then they also go on that it's global. They own 16.4% of the markets in the UK, 19% in Australia, on and on and on. I'm mentioning this because the equity markets have zero to do with Main Street. Wall Street and Main Street, there's no connection at all. And the equity markets are going up and the GDP is going up. And the data is there. I'm not making this up. because of all the money being spent in AI and all these data centers and on and on and on. That's a big percentage of the gross domestic product. It's not coming from consumer spending. So there's the K-shaped economy where the top of the K are the rich and the rest are going down. This is very serious. And like you said, you know, people go put gas in their car. I can't afford it. Oh, look at the foreclosure rates now going way up. Here, not before COVID, the average age of first-time home buyers in the United States, 28 years old. You know what it is now?
Right.
40. $40 old. So young people getting wiped out. So this is very serious. This war, the damage it's done is incalculable. And the longer it goes on, the worse it's going to get.
I want to circle back on one question I had for you, but let me just stay on this Buffett issue because there's a few other points I wanted to get in. He mentioned how he felt better when Volcker was there. He was asked about the current Fed chair. He said he sleeps better with Powell in place, praising a steady hand against inflation, but he did prefer Volcker, and I guess he was implying he's concerned about the new incoming chair. You've been critical of central bank policies for years. So how do you compare Volcker's era and approach to today's Fed environment?
Again, it's a different time.
Yeah.
It's a different time. You go back, I started buying gold. By the way, one of my books, this was it back in the 1980s, Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine. I started buying gold when the Iran conflict started breaking out in the late 1970s.
Right.
Go look what interest rates were back then. Like 8, 10%, 12% in 1980. And then when Volcker came in, you wrapped them up higher. So interest rate, you know, what are they now? We're talking 3.5, 3.75. We're talking back then, before Volcker came, before Reagan won. By the way, I have a picture. You saw it of me and Ronald Reagan when I was on a brunch with him, 16th board of directors. It was a whole different time. So now you're looking at interest rate. Again, I'm totally opposed to the central bank, you know, thing made up by that clown Woodrow Wilson, you know, Federal Reserve, a bunch of banksters. You know, the guy that gave us World War I, the Federal Reserve and federal income tax, may rot in hell. Oh, the IRS, I forgot about that. Again, the banksters. Hey, look what happened when the things crashed. We took out the domain name, the Panic of 08 in 2007. The Federal Reserve, as people are losing their homes because the banksters, hey, you got no job? You out of work? You're deep in debt? Don't worry about it. Sign over here. You got a subprime mortgage? Those slime balls? Bard College, Levy Institute. $29 trillion to bail out the banksters. $29 trillion. So going back, the interest rates now are nothing compared to what Buffett was saying back in Volcker to stop inflation. Oh, and why did inflation go to where it is? Let's go. Tracking trends is the understanding of where we are, how we got here, and where we're going. The COVID war. Remember that? Remember that one? Hey, get back in your house. Get back in your house. Don't worry about it. Here's free money. Hey, we're bringing interest rates down to 0, all right? Oh, that guy Powell? The Powell that he's pushing? Oh, there's no inflation. It's only temporary. Oh, that Powell? No, it's only transitory. That Powell? As inflation skyrocketing? Because they pumped in all this cheap money all over the world, everybody forgets about why we have high inflation. They artificially propped up the markets as they destroyed the global economy. Get back in your house. Get back in your house. Get back in your house. Wear the mask. Stay 6 feet apart. The wind blows exactly in straight lines every 6 feet. And don't forget, when you masturbate, sanitize your hands. Anyway, go on.
I was going to say, I could never forget that time because, as you know, I was fully pregnant giving birth in the midst of COVID, borders were closed. So my family from Canada, my mom, dad, my family, which was supposed to be the most, glorious moment of my life to present my children, my twins, and they were denied that, right? And I didn't get to have that. So and that's just one example of what they robbed us of. Gerald.
Again, going back to what he's saying about inflation and why he wants Volcker to bring down, put up interest rates to slow down the economy. It's already slowed down for the average people.
Yeah.
And how many hundreds of billions is Buffett worth? And not a penny, by the way, for peace. Any of these clown boys and girls called billionaires.
Well, that's the other thing is like he's poo-pooing cash, right? But he also mentioned that they're sitting on a huge cash hoard because the environment isn't ideal for deploying it, right? He doesn't, what he's said about gold in the past. So I mean, look, what should Americans be doing right now? I know you believe in gold, but what's the greatest hedge against the death of the dollar?
The gold and then silver, and it's no question about it. And again, the only reason gold prices should be spiking now with this war going on. It's the #1 safe haven asset, but it's going down for two reasons. Again, how they destroyed the global economy, Russia, Turkey, Mexico, countries selling gold because their debt levels are going up, their currencies are going down, and they got to cover their losses. And what everybody's forgetting is that the equity markets were going down before the Iran war began on February 28th. Because of AI starting to wipe out a number of software companies.
Jobs, yeah.
Yep. And so people were covering their losses because they were making a lot of dough on gold. They had to sell the gold to cover their losses in the equity markets. People forget this. That, again, it's the #1 safe haven asset. And that's, to me, we don't give financial advice. There's nothing better.
I know. Exactly. That's just pure, honest advice. I know you don't, benefit anyhow by saying that, but sometimes it's just facts. That's what I tell people. It's just facts. There's no better place to be than gold. Okay, you're going to like this quote. You're going to love this one because Buffett cares about us. He stressed that professionals like doctors and lawyers will fare okay, but us ordinary people, Gerald, will suffer when money loses value. That made me think of your greatest depression or Slavelandia warnings focused on the middle class. Are you the only one that cares about the middle class, Gerald? He doesn't.
No.
But I mean, honestly, what practical steps do you recommend for viewers to do to build resilience here as the dollar dies?
I got to tell you, the first thing you got to do is get in the best shape you can, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. This is again, I've been at this for 46 years. These are the most dangerous times of our life, as I see it. There's a thing in Israel they call the Samson option.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose, they go nuclear. You go back to, again, we've been writing about this for decades. We said, it's in the magazine. And by the way, there are no ads in the magazine, so nobody tells us what to do, and we've been saying that if the United States and/or Israel go to war against Iran, Brent crude is going to spike to well above $100 a barrel. And it's going to crash the global equity markets and the global economy. We've been saying this for decades in the magazine over and over and over again. We are at that point. And we say there's no way that either the United States or Israel is going to defeat Iran. These are the Persians. They are very advanced scientifically, technologically, and militarily. And again, as you know, I launched a movement called Occupy Peace at peace rallies every year. Say, put my money where my heart is. And you go back to the facts. America has not won a war since World War II. And they would not have won that one, they hate me for saying this, if the Russians didn't defeat the Germans first. After the Germans killed over 27 million Russians in Operation Barbarossa. Lost the Vietnam War, lost the Iraq War, lost the longest war in American history, the Afghan War. You're going to beat the Persians? No. Going back, I'm concerned that they're going to go nuclear. Because there's no way they're going to defeat the Iranians in this war.
Let me ask you, and this is a loaded one, what you're saying echoes much of what, do you follow Professor Steve Hankey's work? Because he's basically in line with everything you say, Gerald. And I just had him on last week. I asked him this question. I want to ask you as a historian. The counter argument is Iran wants a nuclear weapon, and we have to stop them from getting it and not make the same mistake as North Korea. Did we tippy-toe around North Korea, and that's why they got the nuclear weapon?
Okay, so let's go back to the facts. All the facts show that Iran was not making a nuclear weapon. We only put the facts down. Oh, North Korea has a nuclear weapon? Are they a threat to the United States? I'm asking you. Do we have to, could you sleep at night because you're worried about North Korea attacking America? What if North Korea launched a nuclear weapon? We wipe out North Korea in 60 seconds with our nuclear weapons.
Well, this brings
wait
up
a minute.
this brings up a bigger, no, but this is the bigger philosophical question that I also asked Steve Hankey, is who gets to decide who has a nuclear weapon, right? What makes bad, what makes good?
Again,
right?
Number one, according to the data that we report, they were not making nuclear weapons, nuclear enrichment for nuclear power plants, etc. Number two, to take what you just said, how many nuclear warheads does Israel have? They estimate between 200 to 400. And again, who's to decide who should have a nuclear weapon or not? And again, I became a trend forecaster. This is my book, Trends. This is when I became a political atheist, when the Iranian war broke out back in the late 1970s. They taught us to hate Iran. Oh, they're overthrowing the Shah. What, a dictator? Oh, what do they call his son? The crown prince? What's this prince crap? Oh, the royal family where the sun never sets on the British Empire, and they get dressed up in these costumes. And if they were Italian, you'd call them a mafia for all the people that they slaughtered. So let's go back to Iran. 1953. They threw out the Shah's old man, and they democratically elected a guy by the name of Mohammad Mossadegh. Mossadegh had the nerve, the gall to say, the oil in Iran does not belong to Anglo-Iranian Oil, better known today as BP, or Standard Oil, better known today as ExxonMobil. It belongs to the Iranian people. No, it doesn't. They did not release the data, the official data, until around 2013. Remember, this happens 1953. That little clown boy who smokes cigars that looks like a fat little slob that everybody looks up to, Winston Churchill. Yeah, that jerk who gave us World War I and World War II. Telegrams from him to Kermit Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt's grandson, that we have to take that oil back. They overthrew the government of Mossadegh. They brought in the Savak, the secret police that made the SS look good. It was a crime syndicate running Iran under the Shah. I became a political atheist the day little Jimmy Carter came back from spending New Year's Eve with the Shah and his wife. I write about it in the book. Gets out of the helicopter, all those guys dressed up in a costume, you know, they salute. And he goes on to say that the Shah is the island of stability in the Middle East. This has the revolutions going on. In the Bronx, we used to say bullshit has its own sound. I said, this thing's going down. And that's when I started playing the gold and oil futures markets. People forget about this. They taught us to hate Iran, just like they taught us to hate the Russians all our lives.
Okay. So I guess to bring the question back to you, if Iran were to get a nuclear weapon, you'd sleep well?
Yeah. What are they going to do? I sleep well because Israel has nuclear weapons? Oh, how about, whether they just threw out over 1 million people out of South Lebanon? Oh, that Israel with nuclear weapons? Like, there's a lot of crap, this nuclear weapons stuff. Nothing to do with it. Wait, hey, how about we're getting all them narco terrorists out in the Caribbean over there from Venezuela? Remember that story? Week after week, month after month. Then all of a sudden they kidnap the president and his wife of Venezuela. And what did it become? Oil. Remember? All about oil. Like I say, you think the United States would have invaded Iraq, Libya, Syria, if their major export was broccoli?
Oh, Gerald, let's end on a peaceful note. Send some truth our way.
It's up to the people. You know, again, like it, don't like it, want it, don't want it. You know, as you mentioned before we went on the air, one of our top trends is a Gen Z revolution. The people can change it, whether you like it or not. This guy, you're a New Yorker, Mondani. Nobody ever heard of this guy. I'm a New Yorker, Bronx, New Yorker. A little guy of nobody becomes the mayor of the largest city in America.
Well, I don't know if it's a little guy of nobody. His mother's like a, Oscar award-winning, her father's a professor. Okay, fine.
But nobody ever heard of him. But the point that I'm making, it's up to we the people to change it. That's what I'm saying. We have to bring in a new third party, as I see it. I call what they call the government, I call it a crime syndicate. Both of them. I mentioned under the Obama administration, $29 trillion to bail out the banksters that caused the problem. War after war, both parties. We need a new third party. That's the way I see it. But I only brought up Mondani, not, again, as I said, not you like, don't like.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
We need a change, and it could happen because you saw it happen in the largest city in America. It's up to we the people.
Gerald Celente, always good having you on. We have another interview coming up, so I'm not cutting this interview short. But we're going to bring you back because the people want to hear more from you. But in the meantime, read everything that's in Gerald's mind in the Trends Journal. Like he said, there's no ads. He's not bought. It's just what he truly believes in. Trends Journal. Gerald Celente, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate being on. Thank you.
And go to Montreal soon. We just want the series. The city is on fire in a good way. I believe in the Montreal revival, Gerald, speaking about revivals. You got to go up there soon. Thank you all for watching. More content coming your way. We'll see you soon.